Welcome to Beauty Cocktails and Girl Talk, Vanessa.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So, what is one beauty product that you cannot live without?
So the beauty product that there's a couple. So the major one I can't live without are the blue Neutrogena makeup wipes. The blue Neutrogena makeup wipes not only take off all your makeup, but they do a really great job of cleaning your face. So if I have something coming up the next day, like an event or whatever, and there's a blemish on my face, I know that I can put the Neutrogena wipe on my face and my blemish is going to go away.
Wow.
It's amazeballs. The other thing that I have just now gotten into, because it's a fairly new product, but it's like kind of perfect. Fenty just released their powder foundation. And so I love Fenty. It is the perfect match for my skin, and all of their formulas work great for me. But the powder foundation has made it possible to touch up, because I can put it in my purse and I can touch up wherever I am. And it has quite literally changed my makeup game.
That's amazing. I know that there was, I can't remember the name of the company, but there was another one that did like a powder type of foundation, depending on the skin type you had, and it looked amazing on people. Like your skin looks so amazing, and that's why I want to know your beauty secrets.
I am kind of skin obsessed, and I am back at Cetaphil. I have run the gamut over the past 10 years. I've done everything from Dermalogica to La Mer to like everything. And I am back at Cetaphil. Cetaphil is the perfect face wash. And then Drunk Elephant moisturizer with SPF.
And Cetaphil is something you can get at like a pharmacy too, right?
Yes, and it really is perfect. And so like you would always read in like all the beauty magazines, like it's still, even though there's all these fancy things, it's still the dermatologist like number one choice. And it was what I used when I was younger, because it was readily available.
Right.
And so I was like, let me just go back to it, and it's perfect.
I love that. I know that a lot. One of my friends, she had a lot of acne, and then she went to her dermatologist, and he told her to start using Cetaphil, and her skin looks amazing, and it's so good. I mean, like I think people forget that like pharmacy products, like some of them are actually really good.
Like, great.
I gotta run out and get the Neutrogena wipes. I never tried those.
The blue ones. So now they have
the blue one.
They have sleepy time ones that are like with lavender that are purple. They're fine. They have grapefruit ones. They're pink. It feels very refreshing, but nothing beats the OG blue ones.
And they're scent free, right? They're unscented. Nice. Awesome. And also, if you could have cocktails with anyone living or dead, who would it be? What would you drink? It doesn't have to be alcohol. And what would be your topic of conversation?
There's two. There's like the real answer and the ratchet answer. So the real answer would probably be Toni Morrison. She's my favorite author of all time. She is now deceased. I would love to have wine with her and just discuss her life.
I love that.
But alive, it's definitely my queen, Rihanna. I would just shoot tequila shots and just be like, girl, let's live and let's live together.
Have you met her?
No, she's my queen. She's the queen of my world.
She's awesome. And then what was my other question for you? It was, what is your ideal girls' night in or girls' night out? Now that, we can go out again.
So my ideal girls' night in is easy. Me and my girlfriends actually do it kind of quarterly. So we do we do it Galentine's, we do it on birthdays or whatever. We get food catered in. We come in pajamas. Sometimes we'll order matching pajamas, and we drink, we talk, we laugh over like our favorite foods, and we always hire a masseuse. So the masseuse comes in, we get massages, and we're all just together, just chilling, which is so much fun. And it's like a good way to like kind of see what everybody's been up to when we're all like super busy. Girls' night out for me is anything that makes me have to get dressed up. I love having to get dressed up and like put my makeup on and my heels and stuff.
Do hair, yeah.
Do the hair, do the whole thing, take the Uber. So anything that requires that, whether that's just like a really fancy restaurant or we're going to a lounge or anything like that, just make me have to get dressed up.
Do you have a favorite spot that you like to go to?
My favorite restaurant in Los Angeles is a place called Catch.
Catch. Yes, that sounds so good.
Favorite restaurant. It's delicious, which is like kind of the opposite of like a really good girls' night because you're like trying to be cute with cocktails and be seen, but I'm stuffing my face.
Yeah.
But it's my favorite restaurant. It's like on a rooftop. It has a retractable roof. The food is great. The vibe is great. I love Catch. Catch is like my favorite thing.
That's awesome. I got to check that out because for me, it's all about the vibe. Like I
Yeah.
like going to a place where I feel the vibe and it's like great synergy. And I'm sure you do too. Like your vibe is very positive and upbeat. Whereas certain places, there is a specific type of energy you go into. And you're like, no, I'm not really feeling this. I think I'm going to go to this spot.
Yep. Catch is great. I love going to Catch. Catch is my favorite. And then, you know, like there's like some like cool places like around, like not exactly dives, but more or less dive bars, but they're like really good vibe dive bars around LA. So
that's cool though. Yeah. They have, and I think some of them are in Venice too, right? Isn't like Venice the dive bars?
There's a lot of good ones in Venice as well.
Nice. Okay. So Vanessa, congratulations on your book, Far Away from Close to Home. Is that right? Did I say it right?
Yeah, you said it correctly.
So you examine what the idea of home means to Black millennial women. Can you touch on that a little bit and also what inspired you to write this book?
Sure. So the book kind of just follows my life over the past 10 years from moving to LA to getting married, becoming a mother, getting divorced, last year's racial uprising. And I just kind of go through like all the different things where it's like you finally feel like you found this like space that's your space or this relationship or this place. And then something kind of uproots it. And a lot of times it's things that we can't foresee coming or that we can't control. And so we have this idea in our minds, like home is a safe place. Home is a physical place. It's a place where your family is. And it's like, okay, cool. But what if my family changes? What if I get a divorce? Like, what if I have to move? What if wherever I'm at home doesn't feel safe? Then what is home? And so I think it's kind of like an open-ended question, but like the whole point was, it was a question that I was asking myself. And I was wondering if other people were thinking the same thing. And as it turns out, my publishers were. So I wrote this book and we published it and it's doing really well. And it is sparking a lot of conversation about how we define home and family and what makes a place feel safe to us.
I love that. And I just saw this post actually, and it's interesting that you're saying all of that because it says home is a feeling, it's a frequency, and it's not a place. And that is, I believe to be that so true. Yes, you can feel at home in your home, but the people you're around, the people you have in your life, they have a certain frequency. You have a certain frequency. So you feel like this is the place I feel safe. And that's what you feel in your home, right? It's a feeling of feeling safe.
That's it. So my brother came last night. He's spending the summer with me and he came and it's talking about this. He's 23. And as soon as he walked in, he was sitting on the couch with me and my mom. Nobody was even talking. Like I was on my phone. She was watching TV. He was sitting there. My son was next to him. So, you know, he's sitting there next to his nephew and he just looks up. He's like, I want to cry right now. I feel like I'm home. And like, this is my house. This is my house. You know, I'm in LA. He's East Coast. He's been here twice. So it's not his house, but exactly what you're saying. It's the frequency. It's my mom is here. My sister's here. My nephew's here. I feel comfortable as soon as I get here. I know I'm safe. I know I'm loved. And he's like, I want to cry. I feel like I'm home.
That's so beautiful. Oh my God. Did you start crying too? I'm sure your mom was probably like, wow, like that's such a beautiful comment to say to someone.
Yeah, no, it was great. It's so sweet. I'm so happy he's here.
That's so nice. And he lives in New York?
Well, normally we're in Florida. He went off to school in Kentucky. And then he has one more year of eligibility for NCAA football. So he's moving to North Carolina in August. So he's spending the summer with us and training.
Wow. Oh, it's family time. It's so important.
Yeah, it is.
And Vanessa, for aspiring authors, what is one piece of advice or multiple pieces of advice that you would give them?
So, you know, a lot of people ask me like, how do you start writing? And like the advice I feel like I just keep giving is you start writing. You just have to start writing and like putting your thoughts on paper and working it and reworking it and then allowing people to read it and getting feedback. And then I feel like when you start doing what it is that you want to do or that you're aspiring to do specifically with writing, like the universe kind of opens up for you. Like it just kind of starts making a way. You'll start finding other people who like to write in places that writers go and things like that. And everything will start to kind of roll, but you have to start doing the work.
Yeah, even if it's just brainstorming, right? Like even if it's brainstorming, writing in your journal, like, oh, I have this idea. And then from there it can come together. And before you know it, you're writing a book.
That's right.
Like you did. So, I mean, I think writing is beautiful because the thing is, I feel like you tap into this unconscious part of your mind and you're just like, whoa, I didn't even know that I had all this inside of me. And you actually connect to yourself more as an author or as a writer on a deeper level.
I was just telling somebody this morning that when I'm writing, generally my first draft, most of it is trashed because I am just getting out my feelings and thoughts, and they almost seem like they're coherent, but like it's not getting to like the heart of it until the last page. So generally my first draft is trashed except for the last page, and most of my essays, the last page is the first page of the essay everybody else reads.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Like that's when I get to the heart of how I feel about something.
Right. And I think the process is I'm sure it's different for everybody, but it's good that you know that, like you knew that. It's probably like an intuitive thing too, right? In a way, like instinctually, you just knew.
Yeah. Well, you learn it over time, right? Like, so like, I would just feel like my essays had bomb endings. And then eventually somebody was like, no, your essay is about the ending and you have to go back to it. I used to hate to have to rewrite, but now I totally get that's my process. And that's
good. Are you going to work on well, let's focus on this book for now.
Yeah.
But
also, I need like a cat nap now.
Yeah, you're like, I'm exhausted. I need a break.
For sure.
And you're also a television show writer and a producer. You're kind of like the queen of all trades. Queen of all trades. What else are you working on? Is there any project you're working on that you're excited about?
Yeah, so we just finished the 5th season of Animal Kingdom on TNT, which will be its final season. I'm sorry, 6th season, which will be its final season. But the 5th season is about to premiere next month. And then this past summer, I had the awesome privilege of working with Mindy Kaling on her new HBO Max show, Sex Lies of College Girls, which will premiere later on this year. And I'm super duper excited about that. And then I also wrote on a show called Guilty Party that will be premiering on Paramount Plus later this year as well.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Is there a particular genre that you like to focus on, or is it whatever you feel a connection
with? It's whatever I feel led to. Like I used to think I only wanted to do comedy, and then I started doing so much drama that I was like, I'm a drama writer. And then every summer I would write on a comedy, and I'm like, whatever I like is what I'm going.
You're like, I'm just gonna go with the flow.
I'm gonna go with the flow and just be happy to be working.
I love that. And now we're going to kind of shift gears into Girl Talk. And this is a little bit more of a deeper conversation. So it's whatever you feel comfortable talking about, based on challenges that you faced in your life. And, that's something that's very relatable. We've all faced our own sets of challenges. Now, reflecting back on that, what is a challenge that you faced where you felt it really made you evolve as a person and you really learned something about yourself, about your life, and tell us about something.
I think the first thing that comes to my mind is my divorce, and I talk about it at length in the book. And I think in a very odd way, but I say it all the time, my divorce made me like a better human being. It made me like a better partner, a better mother, a better friend, and just somebody who just like looked at the world through different lenses. And I actually could probably say the same thing for my ex-husband, who's like one of my best friends now. When you're a kid, everybody tells you like part of being successful is getting married, having children. That's like part of it for women. Yeah. And, it's certainly, I enjoyed marriage like a lot. Like marriage was fun. I enjoyed having my son. I would like to have more children. But there came this point where it's like, sometimes we aren't given the tools to figure out like but what else? Because like it becomes your marriage, your family becomes a state of being, kind of like we said, it's like a frequency. So what are you doing in that frequency? And I think sometimes a lot of women, myself included, can get lost in it. And it's like, well, I thought I was doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. And now I don't know. I don't know why I'm so not happy. And I think, and men go through it too. And I think it's because we're taught, like, because that's like the crux of what we're supposed to be like reaching for. Once we get it, then it's like, I don't know now
what to do.
I'm here and I'm 32. Like what do I do with it? So I think what the divorce taught me is that no, marriage is a state of being, but it's not like the only thing that you can do. You don't even have to do it if you don't want to. I chose to do it. I would choose to do it again, but it's not, it is just one way to show up in the world. As a married person, being a mother is one way to show up as a woman, but that's not the only way to show up. And ultimately, you have to create a life, whether in marriage or not, whether partnered or not, that when you wake up in the morning, you feel like you're fulfilling your purpose and you feel like you're walking towards something. And you have to link arms. If you should choose to be in a relationship or a partnership, you have to link arms with somebody who A, wants to do the same for themselves, and B, who's supportive of you doing that. And that takes work. Like, that takes your own personal work to figure out, what is it that I want? What is it that I need to be able to be okay in a day? And when you figure that out, then you can rightfully communicate it to somebody else. But if it's not sorted for you, you can't communicate it to anyone else. And then you're in these relationships, these marriages, having children, whatever, buying homes, and you're doing the things that they tell you to do, but you don't feel good about it.
And it's not authentic to you.
It's not authentic to you. And that's not to say that you won't get back to the fact that that's what you want to do, but It has to come from the place like, this is what I want for me. And I think divorce, it's like I hit every milestone I was supposed to hit by 33. And we're just looking at each other like, okay, now what?
You're like, what's next?
We're 33. Like, we have a whole life ahead of us. And so it was like an undoing of all the things that I thought that I had learned. And now it's like a relearning of not only what Vanessa thinks is successful and what Vanessa thinks is happy and good and fulfilling, but it's also unlearning the things that I was told would fulfill me.
Right, like certain patterns or mindsets that you're like, well, that doesn't really kind of,
it doesn't gel. Yeah.
And I love that you shared. Thank you for sharing that story. It's beautiful. And hearing about, like, you're like, I know that I have to learn about what I want, what I don't want, all these things. And I talk to people sometimes and I ask them, I'm like, so they're like, I want to make a lot of money, right? They say something like that. I'm like, is that really what you want? Or is it that you want to feel free?
That's it. Freedom.
Yeah, you want the freedom.
Yeah.
When people are like, I want to get married, I'm like, is it really that you want to get married, or do you want to feel loved and do you want to feel fulfilled?
That's exactly right.
And when you break it down, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. Because we think we want like the actual, like, oh, I want the iPhone. But no, I don't want the iPhone. I want to be able to communicate. That's really what it's about. So like when you're like breaking down what you want, it's so important, because I think the only way that we can get what we want is if we're constantly learning and asking ourselves questions.
That's right. And like that freedom thing is so big. I just actually had that conversation with somebody, because there's so many ways to be free. You can actually go the exact opposite way. As opposed to making a ton of money, you can just live more simply. And like, you don't have as many bills, you don't have as many obligations, and now you're a little more free to just flit around and do what you want to do. And it's like, that thought is undoing the thought like that the world tells you, be rich and you can buy a yacht and you can go on vacations. Like, you can also do all of that with very little as well. And it's, it's fine. That's not like a condemnation of anything you decide, but it is to say that there is more than one way to attack this. And you have to decide, A, what it is you want, and B, why you think that this is the way to get it.
Ooh, I love that.
Like, divorce has had to teach me all of that.
I love that, though. That sounds like you have a very open mindset. And, some people, I think, and this is not to judge anybody, but some people get stuck in that ego space where they're like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. It's not about anybody doing something right or wrong. Exactly. It's more about, what am I learning? How can I grow as a person inside, and just doing that self-work all the time.
Yep. And it's also kind of helpful with dating later, because now that you've been through that thing, you can kind of like date people who you would otherwise think were like great. and you're just like, oh, you're not like awakened to that yet. Like you don't yet know how to say what it is that you want, what it is that you need. You don't know what you're pursuing yet. And even though you're fantastic, we will run into these problems because
because not aligned.
You're not aligned. And then, you know, I truly believe, even from like my ex, like you become different versions of yourself the longer that you're alive and the longer you're with each other. And if you can't communicate clearly with me what version you're turning into or which way at least you think you're going, this is going to be an uphill battle. So it's like very helpful with dating as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. And it's good to learn these things, because now when you go out into the dating field or dating world, you're like, okay, like I've observed this before, this pattern before, this isn't aligned with me. Okay, but I'm grateful for this experience.
Exactly. That's it. You're like, I am so grateful. I'm grateful that I connected with somebody, that I had a good time with them. It reminds me of what that is, which is also really exciting. But no.
I love it. But no. And then what's a mantra that you live by daily?
I feel like now I feel like I'm saying things that I say every day. And so I'm like, but whatever. If other people have heard it, it's fine. That courage is just fear that said its prayers. I think courage is fear that said its prayers. So I think like sometimes when we think that we want to do something and it's scary, we like wait until the fear subsides, or like, we're like, I got to find ways to be less fearful about it if I want to really do it. And I just don't think that that's what courage is. Bravery is not, or you knowing that you're ready to do a thing is not the absence of fear. It's, you got to do it scared. And so it's like, courage is just fear that said its prayers. Like, you know, you're scared, you know that it's going to be maybe tough, or you don't know how it's going to end, and you do it anyway.
I love that's so catchy too. It's such a catchy phrase. You're just like, what? Oh, that resonates. I love that. And okay, so now we're gonna get into some like lighthearted and fun random questions. So I'm just gonna like throw one at you. So speaking of, like, we were talking about dating before, what's a funny dating story you have, or like most memorable thing like a date did, whether it was like, what's wrong with you, or that was cute?
You know, what's interesting is like, I'm just now doing like the app thing, because like when I got married and dated, like there were no apps. And so it was really, really interesting. I was like talking to a gentleman through the apps, through Bumble, which happens to be my favorite one. And it was fine. It was like, it really was good. And in my haste, I swiped on a rather well-known person on Bumble, because I was I like just didn't know how to use the app. And I was like trying to get back to messages, and I screwed it up. And to this day, this rather well-known gentleman, whose name will remain anonymous, keeps refreshing our connection. So I was like, oh, it will unconnect in like 24 hours. And it's been like 3 months, and he keeps refreshing it.
Oh my gosh. And you're not
well, I don't know what to do, but the crazy thing is, I have an event coming up that he is most certainly going to be at. So we may have to revisit this conversation then to see how that went.
Oh, wow. I definitely want to know more. So everyone's going to have to stay tuned.
Bad.
That's a great one. And okay, so when you first moved out to LA, to Hollywood, what was your like first real Hollywood experience? And what was that like?
Good story. So we used to do this place on Hollywood Boulevard called The Spot. Like literally it was called The Spot. And you would go on Sunday, it was like Sunday Fun Day, and everybody would be out there or whatever. And now, mind you, this is 2010, so it's a little bit before the hoopla of Michael B. Jordan. But he was Mike, like he was big then, but it was a little bit before the hoopla. Yeah. So I'm there with one of my homies, and we walk in, and I'm talking to some dude, not like hollering at somebody, but like just talking, because like people got there, and that's how people got to know each other.
Yeah.
And they turned to me, and they were like, "Oh, you were on that show when you were a kid?" And I was like, "Yeah." And somebody just whips me around and pulls me in the air, and it's Michael B. Jordan. And I'm like, but again, it was 10 years ago. This is before Creed. This is before Black Panther. He was like, Me and my best friend were just talking about you. We were talking about people who we watched growing up and we haven't seen them in a while. I'm so glad you're back in LA. And I was like, oh my God, hi. So that's how I got back to B. Jordan. That was my first Hollywood, like, holy shit. Like, experience.
Wow, that's like the best experience probably one could ask for, like when moving on to Hollywood. You're like, here, you play Michael B. Jordan just picked me up, and what just happened?
That's exactly how it happens.
Wow. And you were also on Kenan and Kel.
That's exactly what he was talking about, as a matter of fact.
Yes. And so what was your first impression of the cast? Like when you walked in, you're like, these people are new to you. What was your first impression?
I was so young, and like we were already doing Gullah Gullah Island across the hallway when they were doing all that. So they were like the older, cooler teenage kids, and we were like little kids. So going there felt so, like being on Kenan and Kel was such an exciting time because it felt like you were getting to play with the big kids.
Yeah.
But they like immediately became like brothers to me. I just talked to Kenan like yesterday. Like we're a giant family that is still family. The woman who played my mom on Kenan and Kel, her daughter just turned 30. So she was over here eating cupcakes 2 days ago for my son.
Oh my gosh.
I said, Kenan and I talked like 2 days ago. Like it's all, every time I go to New York, I go and check in with them. So we're all still very, very cool.
Have you guys thought about doing like a reunion or something for your fans? Is that something
I don't know. I'll ask Kenan. That if anybody has thought about it, it would have been them, but I don't know. I'll ask him when I speak to him.
I think people would love that. I mean, now with like all the conventions and also like the reboots, I'm sure you guys could even do a reboot. Do you know how excited people would be? Like, Kenan and Kel reboot! Like, yes! Like people would be dying for that. I think that you need to talk.
I'm definitely gonna float it. I'll float it.
What'd you say?
I'll float it. I will tell them. They're like, hey guys, this came up in an
Hey guys, we gotta have a chat. And okay, did you ever have this in your yearbook when you were in high school where it was like most likely to be?
Yes.
What do you think you would have been voted as, or what were you voted
I
as?
was voted most talented.
I think that's very accurate. So that is very true. And well, let me see the questions. That's why I had to look at my phone before, because I was like, I want to make sure I'm asking right questions. All right, let's see. Your favorite home cooked meal?
Oh my God, my mom's pork chops.
Nothing like mom's home cooked food.
My mom's pork chops. She lives here now in LA with me, but she was still in Florida, she would like have them prepared for me when I walked in the door.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. She's a good mom. She's a good mom.
She moved here in December to help me with my son, like through the pandemic and stuff, because my ex-husband is a tour drummer. So like he's on American Idol and he's like Miguel's MD and a bunch of people's. And so when he goes, and I would be like by myself until my mom moved here. So now I get to eat mom's home cooking a lot.
Oh, that's so nice. And it's nice that you probably got to spend time with her during that time, because we couldn't see anyone, especially when COVID started last year. So that was really hard.
She left from visiting me 10 days before we got locked down. And then she was back here to move with me in December.
Wow. And you're like, Mom, you're staying.
I need you here.
Yep. Nothing like that. And we always wrap up with this question. Okay. Finish the sentence. Never have I ever. What have you never done?
Never have I ever had a one-night stand.
Oh, that's a good one.
Never have I ever. I've had a 2-night stand, but never have I ever had a one-night.
That was great. That was brilliant.
But never one.
I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show, Vanessa. So good to have you.
This was so much fun.
And you should let us know when you're in New York. I mean, I'd love to connect with you, meet you, and our hosts too. I'm hoping to come in October because Hamilton's back. Oh, nice. Yeah, the Hamilton's like always sold out too. That's the thing. It's like I hear so many good things about it, but we definitely have to meet. And I'm probably gonna be coming out to LA sometime in the fall. So we're here always. Hopefully we'll catch each other. Yeah. Congratulations on everything you're doing. Thank you. Can't wait to read your book. Yay. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah. Bye, Vanessa. All right, talk soon. Bye.